And good morning, everybody. This is your boy Cruz, the Beast from the East, and you are watching Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 TV Live. We are glad to be with you this morning. And I tell you, we're making history because this is the first Saturday morning edition that we've ever done. And it's great because we have a fantastic guest for you. So I want to tell your friends, wake everybody up, let them know that we have a wonderful show set for you today, and it's going to be simply amazing. But before we get started here, I want to let you know about the weather here in the Cap City. Currently, it's 40 degrees in the Cap City. We're expecting a high of 57 and a low of 39. It's going to be raining all day, so make sure while you're out that you be safe and take your rain gear because it's not going to let up. And to Sunday morning, you have a continuation of showers for tomorrow. It's going to be a high of 64 with a low of 50. Starting off your work week from Monday, continuation of rain again. It's going to be a high again of 64, a low of 45. Tuesday, we're going to see the sunshine back again, mostly sunny with a high of 44 and a low of 30. And on Wednesday, it's going to be a little different here in the Cap City. Expecting rain and snow. That's right. I did say snow, but it's going to be 47 degrees with a low of 30. So the chances of it sticking to the ground are going to be minimal. I wanted to tell you that, again, we really appreciate you being here this morning with us. And let me tell you about our special guest. Dr. Angela Kenzslowe is a serial entrepreneur, best-selling author, psychologist, and true lover of life. She speaks on both live and virtual stages with passion, knowledge, and experience. She has been in business since she was in her early 20s. I think she's only like 21 now. So since that time, she has brought and sold companies, taught undergraduate college business courses, and treats active duty military personnel with mental health. She uses her past experience as an actor to help captivate audiences, and you're going to find her very captivating this morning. You can find her both on the big and small screens, and I'd like to welcome for the first time none other than Dr. Angela Kenzslowe. Good morning. How you
Good
doing?
morning. I am well. I am well. I sat backstage listening to the weather where you are, and I am in Arizona. And so I just have to share that today's high will be a little low for us for this past week, and we will be at 72 degrees in beautiful Phoenix. So for all of you out there on the East Coast, you decide that you need a little bit of sunshine, we've got it for you.
Well, you definitely brought the sunshine in this morning, and thanks for rubbing that in, by the way. We really appreciate
It's
that.
not a rub in because come June, July, August, then we'll be the ones feeling we don't shovel sunshine though. So even though it's hot here in the summer, it's a little less laborious.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your notepads out and write down these words because it's going to be a great word study today. I love that. Love that. Let's say good morning to Dr. Davita Blackett Smith joining us. Thank you, all our listeners and watchers this morning. I'm so used to radio, I say listeners. So all our viewers this morning across the country and around the world, thank you for tuning in with us. And I'd like to say, Dr. Angela, that we really appreciate you being here this morning. Again, this is Saturday morning, and normally, you do your interviews throughout the week. You're a very busy woman.
As we all are, right?
I don't know.
And you can be busy doing nothing. That's okay. We are allowed to be busy of just having time and space to ourselves. So that's why I say, as we all are.
Absolutely. And we want to thank you for your service. You are a veteran, and we really appreciate that. We don't take that for granted because, again, without the service that you all provide, we would not have the freedoms that we have here. So God bless you and thank you for your service. And to all those that are in our armed services, past, present, and hopefully those future ones too, we want to let you know that we appreciate what you do. Now, before we get into things today and talking about some insight from you. I want to talk about this serial entrepreneur. That is I like that word. Tell us about what is a serial entrepreneur.
So a serial entrepreneur is someone who has a business, then another business, then another business, then another business. And I know, again, when I was backstage, you spoke about some of the things that I've done in the past. And I am 49, not 21. I wear 49, will be 50 this year. I wear it as a badge of honor because there's
Right.
many people who do not get to have long life, right? And although
Right.
49, 50 isn't necessarily long, there's people who haven't even made it this far. So I wear my age, never shy about saying my age. Don't really understand why people are. I'd rather be a good looking 50 than a kind of old looking 21, right?
Absolutely. I'll be 60 this year, and that's why I'm
Oh,
rocking the gray beard because I'm like, hey, you're right. When I think about my classmates and still to be able to be here and healthy and
mhm.
environment. So you're right. That's a badge and honor.
Yes, yes. So talking about serial entrepreneur. So I had to give the age to talk about the vast difference. So in junior high school, I was in band and one of the attached units with our marching band. And I grew up not with a lot of money. And so when it came to being able to purchase uniforms, shoes, the different things that we needed in order to be able to participate, I would do bake sales with a group, right? We would do bake sales, we would do car washes, we would have candy sales. I was the one that would go literally door to door throughout neighborhoods selling those dollar candy bars that for some reason are still $1 today. I go figure, I don't know. But I think that's what laid the foundation, right? That if I have a financial need, I can create an opportunity to be able to meet that financial need. And so after getting out of the Army, I left the Army as a single mom. I was married in the Army, had my son in the Army, got divorced in the Army. So continued as a single mother. And my one desire was education. I wanted to go to school. And it's
Mm-hmm.
tough, right? It's tough being a single parent, trying to manage a traditional 9 to 5 and go to college. So I had a need. I need money. I need to ensure that my son is raised in a nice space. I didn't want him to have lack like I had lack growing up, just different era, right?
Right.
And so in college, I started a maid service. I was like, I know how to clean. I cleaned hotel rooms when I was in high school because that paid more than Burger King. I worked at Burger King, and then someone asked me to come be a maid, and it was 25 cents more an hour, and you get tips. So between the Army and having been a maid in the past, I was like, I know how to clean. So I actually paid a mentor because I wanted to make sure that I was doing the business part of it correctly.
Right.
So this was in the mid 90s. I paid about $2,000 to this lady who had a successful maid service. And with that $2,000, I also got all of the equipment. And when I say all the equipment, like we went to the janitorial service. She showed me how to go to the actual professional place to buy the professional vacuum cleaners. Down to, and I know a lot of people don't think about this, but you know how some people have on their walls those black marks?
Right.
The
Uh-huh.
vacuum cleaner. That's why your vacuum cleaner needs to have a white cord, not a black cord, right? The
Ah,
things you learn being
knowledge.
so today I get to tell my son that I literally scrubbed toilets for him to be able to live while I was in college. So while I was in college, the maid service, I still needed some additional income. And so I had a little bit of money put away. And so I bought a laundromat. And this was the time when laundromats were transitioning from coin laundromats to
Uh-huh.
card laundromats. I'm 20 something years old. I knew that I used to go to a laundromat when I was young. So I purchased the coin based laundromat, even though it was going in because they were a lot less expensive. It was something I could afford. And the local high school kids, it was a tough lesson. The local high school kids would come in and they actually figured out a way to get the coin box out of the washing machines. And then they would jerry rig the dryers so that you would get free dry. So because I couldn't be there, right, when we were young, laundromats were not attended. Now they are
Right.
attended. So I sold the laundromat and then it just continued from there, right? Right now I have a private practice. I also have a consulting business. Prior to that, I was just going in and out, owning businesses, doing entrepreneurial ventures. But that was the foundation, and it's been an amazing ride.
And you mentioned something that's vitally important that's happening now with the pandemic. A lot of people, especially those that have lost jobs, lost wages, are finding other creative ways to provide, income for their family. And I think it's bringing us back to that entrepreneur spirit. What is your take on that?
I think everyone has some type of business venture in them, but we have to remember that there's many different kinds of people in the world. And so I have a girlfriend, she's a year under me. We've been really great friends since I was in 7th grade. She was in 6th grade, and she's about to retire. She's about to retire from, she went to college and then she started working for a healthcare company, and she has about 8 weeks vacation every year and has just been consistent. She's literally taken her daughter to every Disneyland on earth. And so oftentimes we try to put entrepreneurship on this pedestal, and we say, hey, the corporate person is, not as exciting. Well, she's 48. She's about to be retired, and now she can go off and do whatever it is she wants. And she has a pension plus a 401k. So there's give and take for both. I think now, though, to address your question, is that people are being forced to be innovative. People are being forced to say, just like I did when I was in marching band and in concert band in junior high and high school, I have a need. How am I going to meet this need, right? What can I do with my own hands, with my own mind? What can I do to be able to produce an income, to be able to create money? And for those who are making it happen, that's wonderful. For those who aren't, hopefully they're able to still find someone who is creating opportunities to be able to create an opportunity for them to be able to then earn an income.
Absolutely. I'm one of those ones that do the dual. I still have a 9 to 5, but yet created this media so that, again, to create a legacy for my family and to be able to bring others on. I have a marvelous team of volunteers, and my goal, and I tell them every day, is that I don't want you guys to be volunteers anymore. I'm working for a point that we all are on salary. So that's my goal. And I posted the other day, this was a lofty goal here. By this time next year, Dr. Angela, I want my first $1 million. And that's what I'm shooting for, How important is it for us to set goals? And is there such thing as having a lofty goal?
I think lofty goals are great. Right. I think I have lofty goals. I think your goal that you just mentioned is a lofty goal, but it's attainable. Right. There's such a thing called SMART goals. Have you ever heard of a SMART goal?
Yes.
Yeah. And so some people haven't. Right. So SMART goal is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Right. So you're saying, hey, I want to, by this time next year, I want to earn $1 million. Okay, now how are we going to do that? And so just saying it doesn't really do anything for us. Like, I'm going to make $1 million. All right, great. But now, and so that's when you sit down and you look at what are how specifically am I going to do this? Well, and then whatever that is for you, right? Is it measurable? Can I measure this to make sure that it is attainable? And is it realistic, right? So if it's specific enough, if it's measurable enough, it's likely then realistic, but it might not be, right? It might be, because of the pandemic, the commodity that I need out of Indonesia is no longer available, right? So, okay, so that's not attainable. So now let me go back to the drawing board and make a different specific goal to meet the overall goal of making $1 million. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Too lofty.
Now, first of all, I want to say I'm honored to have you here because somebody has been on the Oprah magazine, been on TED.com, ABC, CBS, and Lifetime movie television. That is simply amazing resume here. And I have something that recently, January, you appeared on the Today Show. And so I'd like to play a little bit of that clip because that's going to be a segue into part of what we're going to talk about. So
So now that we're a few hours into the new year, it's full speed ahead. Time to get everyone back on track starting right now.
Which is why we're wearing our tracksuits. Okay, 2/3 of Americans say living in quarantine has ruined their morning routine. If your days have kind of been upside down since last March, clinical psychologist Angela Kenzslowe is here to help. Angela, good to see you. The mornings are so important because they kind of level set your day. So if you were to start off with the very first thing you should do after you open your eyes and take care of your business, what would that be?
The very first thing that I do is I make my bed. Then immediately after making my bed, I hop in the shower. After hopping in the shower, then I brush my teeth. And it's okay if you're not a morning shower person. Already though, I've accomplished 3 things. I've made my bed, I've hopped in the shower, and I've brushed my teeth. I already have progress going. And there's this wonderful principle, it's called the progress principle. And what that tells us is that when people have a sense of progress, then the rest of their day is going to be pretty productive. So it's pretty cool.
I sometimes I like to wake my husband up just to make the bed.
To get him out of the bed?
Just to get him out of the bed, because making the bed is a huge thing. And I know one thing that makes both of us feel good, and that's to move, to work out.
Do something.
Yes, and working out in the morning is a fabulous idea. Newton's first law tells us that a body that tends to rest stays at rest. I know when I was in the Army, we used to say that the first thing that we did in the morning, we got everything done by 9 a.m. and we felt like we got more things done than most people did in the day. So absolutely, getting moving definitely helps us to kind of just get things going and keep that progress principle going so we can be more productive.
Yeah, it's like you got a checklist. And so we're going to take a quick break, Angela. We're going to come right back. We've got more tips to help us start 2021 off just right. We'll be back after this.
All right. Progress principles.
Yes.
I told everybody they need to get their notepad and whiteboard and everything because this was going to be a learning experience. That's why we call it Insight Today with the Kenzslowe. Talk about and expand on that progress principle.
So great question. The progress principle is, just like I mentioned there on January 1st with Hoda and Jenna, as I'm getting something done, then it allows me to kind of feel good, get a little hit of dopamine, right? Our brain says, hey, this is great. I'm getting something accomplished. And now we want to continue getting the next thing accomplished. And as I continue to get things done, right, I'm progressing, then I'm more apt to continue. I know I keep using the word continue. I'm trying not to say progress or progress. But it's just as you're getting things done, right? So kind of think about when you get up early in the morning and maybe on a Saturday morning like this, I'm 2 hours behind you. So it's 8:21 in the morning for me now. So raising my son, this is when we would get up and we would clean the house, right? You blast the music, open all the windows when you're in Arizona because it's nice out. And you start cleaning, right? And then the whole day ends up being a productive day because you started early. Now think about the days when, maybe it's a lazy Sunday and you wake up and it's, like, oh, I'm going to get my cup of coffee. And, when it's the summer there, go sit out on the balcony and, listen to the birds. And then the whole day just ends up kind of being a lazy day and you really don't get much done. Right. That's kind of just to give a metaphor of what the progress principle is. As you get things done, we tend to get more things done throughout the day.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'm going to put that on a Post-it note right on all my computers, the progress principle. And I love the way that I wish I could wake up that glowing in the morning, like that. That was an awesome segment. It really was. And then they go on to show you at your office, and you talk about some other steps to navigating 2021, because we know that last year 2020 was difficult, and it really hasn't been that much of a change. What do we continue to do now that we're almost 2 months into 2020?
2021. So, yeah, no, I
I'm
got
still stuck in 2020.
Just continue. We're a year into this pandemic. I don't have a mask up here with me. We're now wearing masks. Our masks are being thrown in the laundry, just like our undergarments, right? It has become a normal part. Well, maybe that mask isn't being thrown in. Our non-medical masks are being thrown into the wash with our undergarments. So it's just become this normal, natural thing for us now, right? And we're getting different data as to when this is going to go back to how it used to be, or is this now going to be what life is like normal? I'm sure at some point we're going to see less masks as people continue to get vaccinated and we move into that herd immunity. But in the interim, in the meantime, we have a lot of folks who are working from home who prior to a year ago weren't working from home. Remember that was like the luxury. Well, wow, I get to work from home, and this is
right.
So now everybody's like, oh my gosh, these kids, my spouse, the dog, like, can I get away? Right. And so it's managing being able to have still some personal time, being able to, remember when we spoke a little bit earlier about being busy, and sometimes it's okay being busy doing nothing. And so if you need to close the door, and just have some space, some time, sit with your coffee, your tea, your water, read a book, maybe put in your AirPods and just listen to some music, that's okay to take some time for self. As Americans, and specifically people in the Black community, we've been socialized that it's lazy not being busy, right? You're not going to just lay around here and da-da-da. Right? However, in this time, we need to take that self-care time. We need to allow ourselves to have some private time away from our significant others, away from our children, away from work. So some of the tips that I shared and continue to share is having a designated place where you do work if you're someone who's working from home, right? One of the luxuries of working from home is that we're supposed to be able to have more time for ourselves. But what the data is showing, what some of the recent research is showing, is that people are working more because they're not closing the door. They're not closing the laptop. They're not stepping away from work. They're bringing it into, okay, now that dinner is done, I'm going to hop back on and answer some emails. Well, if you were traveling to work and you didn't have a take-home laptop or a computer at home, you weren't doing that before, but yet we're finding that people are doing that now, and it's extending that workday. So the first tip I have, or the second tip, I guess they kind of go together, is having a designated workspace and designated work time, right? So kind of, do some time blocking. And if you have little ones at home and you can only sustain for about 30 minutes because they're going to be, knocking at that door, then do your 30 minutes of solitude work. Then go out, get your cup of water, hug on the child, get a kiss on the forehead is what I mentioned on that episode, and then go back and then focus on that on the next time block to be able to get what it is done that you need done. And then that way you're more proficient, right? You're not multitasking. We talk about so much people wear these badges of honor of, I can multitask, I can do this. Well, your brain says otherwise, right? That's the reason why we have the no texting laws, right?
Right.
Our brains don't do things as well if we're trying to attend to more than one thing at once. Sorry there. I think the sun, remember I was telling you when we first came on.
There's the sun.
Yeah. I usually have something to block this window out. So
that's all right.
That a little better?
We needed that here on the East Coast. So yeah, that's awesome.
Kind of moving over to this camera. Again, I usually block them out. So I apologize if.
No. That's fine. You're right, because again, I've been working, teleworking from our corporate office home now, and since last March. And I noticed that you're right. I stay at my work computer virtually almost 9 hours, where when I was at the corporate office, I would get up and walk around to maybe somebody else's desk and come back, kind of break away. But now I find myself, just kind of locked in, and I'm afraid to miss an email or something like that. And, of course, our corporation has said, guess what, guys? You guys are doing such a fantastic job working from home, and you're so productive. we're going to have 95% of our workforce now telework. That is like insane.
Yeah, and it's nice though with proper boundaries, right? And you are taking less breaks because you're not going. Now, for those, there's people who are introverts and there's people who are extroverts. And a lot of times people have a different understanding of what that means. So I'll give the definition of how I see what introversion and extroversion is. It's simply how you recharge, right? So you can have, I'm an introvert. I'm outgoing, right? So when I tell people I'm an introvert, they're like, nah, you're not all quiet. No, I'm an outgoing person. That's different than introversion or extroversion. I'm an introvert because the way that I recharge, the way that I get energy is having some alone time. I am so sorry.
That's all right. See, we knew that President Biden wanted to talk to you this morning. So
that was Barack.
That was Barack. Tell me,
so,
hold on, you're on my show right now.
Isn't it amazing? I used to get emails from him, just like everybody else who was on his listserv, but it's kind of nice, right? When you see like Barack Obama in your email.
Yeah.
But so back to the introversion. So clearly I'm an outgoing person, but I need that alone time. I need that time to be able to recharge. So I can go out, I can be on stage, I can do talk shows, I can do things like this. And then after that, I'm going to need some quiet time so I can get my energy back. An extroverted person, and this is where these people are having a tough time working at home. Extroverts, they get their energy from other people. Right? So they're the ones they're home alone too much, or they're having too much alone time. And it's like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? They need that connection, that social connection to get energy from those who either they care about or they like or they enjoy. Right. And so those are your extroverts. And so they may be having a tougher time working from home because they're not having as much social connection as everybody else, or as they used to when they were working from an office. So for those of you who have friends or family who are extroverts, really check in on them. I know you're checking in on everybody else, but really try to give them some additional social time.
And that was Michelle telling me, girl, you look lovely this morning. And speaking of people that want to connect with you, I got some friends that want to say hello to you. Lisa? See, Michelle got you all choked up. I told you it was going to be fun.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I drank my coffee wrong.
See, that's what happens. You get all choked up when you come on this show. So Lisa wants to say hi to you. And also somebody here that knows you said they've known you for 35 years.
Yes. So let me tell you about Joey Jarava. Hi, Joey. Joey, so I told you that I grew up, that coffee really went down the wrong way. I grew up not having a lot of money. And Joey he's a celebrity chef now, y'all. Celebrity chef, like he's doing amazing stuff. But he started off at a Pizza Hut. And he was the manager as a teenager. He was the manager at a drive-through Pizza Hut. It wasn't a Pizza Hut where they had a dining facility. I need to drink some of my water.
Take your time. And I'm gonna say hi, Joey. And Joey, call me, bro.
So what Joey did was he would always give us free pizza. And so that was oftentimes how I was able, my brother, my younger brother, and I would be able to eat, is because my mom was working, right? She was doing what she had to do. She was a single mom of 2 kids. And again, different era, right? People really weren't thinking about how can I create income? It was how can I have a job? So she had 3 jobs at this time. And so she was barely home because she was trying to do things to be able to make an income. And so Joey, at some point, it got to where I could go into the Pizza Hut, make the pizza myself, and carry it out. So he was definitely a lifesaver, and he will always have a wonderful space in my heart.
Well, Angela, today this is your life because Joy has a question.
Why was my nickname? How does he know? Did you contact people? Okay, So why was my nickname Face in high school? It was amazing. So it was my son is moving. So it was my nickname, but it was also another young lady's nickname. And only she and I could call each other Face. So no one else could call me Face. Only Wendy could call me Face. And it's even weird me saying Wendy rather than Face. So in the 7th grade, so again, I'm 49, so she's the same age. Love you, Face. In the 7th grade, we would stand in the line to go to the cafeteria, and there was that commercial, that face, that CoverGirl face.
Right.
So we'd hold each other's face and going, that face, that CoverGirl face. And so it'd be like that Face, and then it became Face, and then 30, 40 years later, we're still Face.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we got more guests here.
Oh! Hey, son, I won't call you your nickname. Hey, Brayden. Oh, he's my heart. Thank you.
That is amazing. Totally amazing. Joy also wants to say that the information has been great. You provide a lot of great information for us. And then he has another comment for you.
LOL.
Yeah, definitely. Now, again, I want to talk about, because it's so much, and I'm going to have to bring you back because you've written a number of books, best-selling author. You've been acting. There we go. That's it. That's amazing, that connection with Kim Coles. I saw that. I was like, wow. In fact, I had reached out to her probably about a couple of weeks ago to have her on. So we're still working on that as well. So you're laying the foundation, our celebrity superstar here this morning on our first Saturday morning show. So this is going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. I want to talk about as we continue to get on track in 2021 here. I got to write that time. Some other things that we can continue to do, but I want to talk about this because when we hear the terminology PTSD, most people associate that with armed services.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, do we have a lot of that now in society of people that are being impacted by the pandemic, those people that in Texas and Oklahoma and those places are, from what we've been able to research, are having that same the same issue. Talk about that for us.
Yeah, so PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. And the key word there is disorder. So clinically, PTSD is again, disorder. We say a lot of things in layman's term, right? Some people will say, oh, I'm so OCD, or, oh, the weather's so bipolar, right? Or they must have PTSD. So, oh, there's my mom. That's my mom. Oh, sorry. She's the one y'all took her behind off trying to raise me and my brother, let me tell you.
I told you, this is your life today.
But PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so that son, I'm telling you, I apologize. Let's see if we can, is that better? You're going to have my head cut off.
Yes, no. Absolutely. You keep bringing the sunshine, which we love that.
I apologize, y'all. This never happens, but I forgot to block that window.
No, not problem. You're fine, Dr. Angela.
Okay. So I'm going to try to scrunch down a little bit. So, so PTSD. So the literature, there's not necessarily much of a higher prevalence rate. We always do in the media say that this is a veteran thing, right? Because, folks that have deployed and gone to combat, right, that can be traumatic. Right. The first criteria, though, for PTSD, for post-traumatic stress disorder, again, that's the key word, disorder, is, were you in a situation where you felt that your life was threatened, right? Were you the victim of sexual assault? Or did you witness someone else when they died? Essentially, that's the first line of criteria, essentially.
You want me to? I can go to a commercial.
Yeah, do that. Do that real quick. Let's do
All
that.
right, we're gonna finish playing the rest of the when you were actually on the Today Show. So everybody stand by while she makes some adjustments.
Thank you.
So now that we're a few hours into the new year, it's full speed ahead. Time to get everyone back on track starting right now.
Which is why we're wearing our tracksuits. Okay, 2/3 of Americans say living in quarantine has ruined their morning routine. If your days have kind of been upside down since last March, clinical psychologist Angela Kenzslowe is here to help. Angela, good to see you. The mornings are so important because they kind of level set your day. So if you were to start off with the very first thing you should do after you open your eyes and take care of your business, what would that be?
The very first thing that I do is I make my bed. Then immediately after making my bed, I hop in the shower.
All right, welcome back.
Quick and easy.
Fantastic. All right, so you were talking about disorder, which is the key word.
Yeah. So PTSD, right? So then there's some additional symptoms that have to occur, right? Some that are generalized. So I'm not going to go through all of the criteria, but is the person having nightmares? Are they re-experiencing the situation, the event? Are they having intrusive memories? There's a difference between intrusive memories and flashbacks. And oftentimes people don't really know what that difference is. Intrusive memories are, I continually think about, remember what it is that happened. And it's very difficult to be able to manage those thoughts, those memories. Flashbacks, however, are I feel as though
all right. We're going to give her another 30 seconds here. It's live TV.
A friend of mine has gifted me a book, and oh gosh, I can't. The book is downstairs, and I can't think of the name of the authors, but he's a mindset coach, and I love reading about what others say when it comes to psychology and mindset, and all those good things. And one of the things that I love that he mentions is neutral thinking. And so, and he works with athletes, and I know this is a segue, but this is how I'm going to cope with this. So neutral thinking is rather than, focusing on what just happened, but what's happening now, right? And not judging what just happened or what may happen in the future, but it's the new play, right? It's a lot of football analogies because the person works with athletes and
right.
and all that. So that's over. And now we're back to PTSD, right? There's no judgment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My coach used to tell us that all the time. You miss a free throw, hey, it's over. You missed it. So,
about it.
Yep, time to get back in the game. So that's where we are now. We're back in the game.
So, okay. So flashbacks. So flashbacks are where we feel as though we are actually re-experiencing the event. So not the intrusive memory where I'm continuously thinking about it, but where I feel as though I'm back in whatever that situation was, right? Then we have some derealization, some depersonalization, and essentially that's when people start to just zone out. Right, they're lost in their thoughts, and they're not present. They're not really even aware of what's going on here, and wherever it is, they may be in their mind. It may be back in the moment. It may be they're giving themselves a vacation and they're thinking about the beach or their favorite place. Some of the additional symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder can be avoidance, right? So let's say that someone was in a car accident, and their car accident was when they were on their way to Walmart, and they were right at the intersection of Walmart. And so now they no longer want to drive to that intersection, and then they can't go to Walmart anymore. They avoid it because when they think about driving that way, or when they think about Walmart in general, nothing against Walmart, this is only an example. Sorry, Walmart, it's not going to affect your stock, I'm sure. That they avoid that, right? So now it's like, no, instead of going this way, which would be a 10-minute drive, we're going to go this way, which is now going to be a 15-minute drive. So not only am I avoiding, but it's disrupting the natural course of my life, right? It's making things take a little bit longer. So those are just some examples of some of the symptoms of PTSD. But when we get into what the disorder is, right, for it to actually be post-traumatic stress disorder, is if there's significant, that's the key word, significant impairment in our occupational functioning, our social functioning, or our academic functioning, right? Wow. That's the key word. And so oftentimes we have this higher prevalence of people diagnosing PTSD because they say, hey, you experienced something traumatic, so you must, have PTSD. No, we've all experienced something traumatic in our life at some point, right? Mm-hmm. When we're young, when we're children, maybe we had a pet that passed away, and at that time, that was horrific for us, right? But now as adults, when we think back about that pet, typically we're thinking about the good memories. We're not thinking about the time that they died. And so we know that we can, as humans, we can experience something that is traumatic that's not necessarily going to cause a disorder for us. That's the other window, Cruz.
That's all right. Oh, Joey wants to say he has to go to work, so he wants to say goodbye to you.
Hey, and good luck, Joey, with your competition. He's like #1 chef or something like that right now. It's pretty cool.
Joey, I'll be trying to reach out to you. Love to have you on the show, definitely. So thanks for tuning in, by the way. Here's an interesting comment here. Young Black men traumatized by interaction with the police, flashbacks, disorder. Again, we're talking about those triggers. So
let me say this. So we're speaking specifically about PTSD, right? Now there's other trauma disorders, and that's the thing, is that we're so quick to say something is PTSD when it's not. You can still be affected by trauma and it not be full-blown PTSD. And that's what I'm saying. So we can still have a trauma disorder. We can still be affected by trauma, right? And so we have these race-based traumas, right? Specifically for Black men. And we do have a fear, right? I'm part of the Black community. I'm a woman. And so my experience is very different than my son's experience, who is a Black man. And then your experience as a Black man. And so it might be when you see police, because your brain perceives police as bad and dangerous, right? Because that's what's been happening, right? Is that if I get pulled over by the police as a Black man, I'm fearful for my life because I don't know what may or may not happen. And so our brain says danger. And then immediately when our brain says danger, it floods us with hormones, right? Cortisol, norepinephrine, it just floods us with these hormones, 3 to be exact. And it puts our body into fight or flight, right? That's our sympathetic nervous system being engaged. So now we're in fight or flight because our brain says, hey, officer, danger, my life can be threatened right now. We don't know if it is or not, right? But they can just be driving by or pull behind us in the rear view mirror, right? Oh my God, if I get pulled over. And so what starts to happen? Our heart starts to race. Our hands become sweaty, right? Our pupils might start to dilate. Our breathing might become a little bit more shallow. Our body, our brain is putting our body into fight or flight. And that's a natural, normal response when there's actual danger. So let's put that on the shelf, that it's a cop behind us.
Right.
Let's say that you're at a convenience store and there's someone robbing the place, right? So there's actual literal, like you're literally in danger there. And so again, same thing that happens. Your brain perceives the danger, immediately puts you into fight or flight. Your sympathetic nervous system is engaged and you're being flooded with these hormones. So that way you can run faster than you would normally run, fight harder than you would normally fight, or freeze longer than you would normally freeze, right? That's why we call it fight, flight, freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens when our brain is perceiving. So going back to the cop being in the rear view, when our brain is perceiving danger, when we don't know really if there's danger, that cop can, could be a black man,
right.
as the officer, right? Who's like, hey, dude, your taillight's out, and pulls you over, your taillight's out. Just wanted to let you know, there's an auto zone, or, whatever's local to your area down the street, feel free to go get that done. Here's your warning, not even a ticket, right?
Right.
And so your life was not in danger. It's the person saying that, hey, your car is a little dangerous to be on the road because you're not able to have your taillights, go or whatever.
Right.
So we have these race-based traumas, these race-based stresses because of, really because of how our country was founded. But most recently, with everything that's been going on over the past 4 years, with everything being magnified politically, where a lot of things are that's a whole other discussion. But anyway, race-based trauma is absolutely true. Does it mean you have PTSD? No, it does not mean you have PTSD, because your life is not being significantly impaired because of the thought of this person being bad. But is it traumatic? Yes. Does it negate your experience? Absolutely not. This is true. It happens. And unfortunately, this is what is our experience right now in our country.
Right.
It really has to be dealt with. But can you still go to work and still do your job? Yes. Can you, still, and this is most. Now, there's some people who may be so fearful that they don't leave their home. That would be different, right? But that would be an outlier. That's not most people. Most Black men right now are still doing everything they need to do on a day-to-day basis. And so that's why it would not be PTSD disorder.
That's some great insight, because you're right. That phrase is thrown around readily now, and I appreciate that, how you drew that line of demarcation for that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about demarcation here, explain to those that are not quite familiar with the term psychiatrist and psychologist, because those are two different lanes, both helpful, but two different lanes.
Yeah, so a psychiatrist is someone who has gone to medical school. So whether they are an MD or a DO, right, typically, and then they specialize. So you have some medical doctors who specialize in family practice. You have some who decide, okay, I want to be a podiatrist. You have some who decide, I want to be an oncologist. And then you have some who decide, I want to be a psychiatrist. And so when they're going through their residencies, then they go into their specific field of study. And so psychiatrists go into mental health. They learn about mental health disorders. So the book that we all use, do I have it here? Yep. So this one's in plastic because the one that I use in practice, so I just have a ton of these. So this is the book that we use. This is the DSM. This is essentially the Bible of mental health. And so as psychiatrists and as psychologists, as well as clinical social workers, counselors, anyone who's doing any diagnostics or diagnosing someone with a diagnosis, this is the book that we use to take a look and see what all the symptoms are. So this is what they'll study and learn that from hand to hand. Psychiatry, they prescribe medication. So they're medical providers who have really learned the intricacies of anatomy, how your body is going to metabolize medication, how certain medications are going to affect your brain or any other organs in your body, right? So they're going to prescribe if you're depressed, if you have psychosis, if you have bipolar disorder, any type of mental health disorder, they're going to prescribe that medication. A psychologist, which is what I am, I do not prescribe medication. However, there are some psychologists who do. And those psychologists who do prescribe medication, they've gone to what we call a postdoctorate. So they've received another master's degree, a postdoctorate master's, after the doctorate degree that is in psychopharmacology. So pharmacology is medication. Psychopharmacology is psychiatric mental health medication. So there are some psychologists who prescribe, but that's because they've done something additional. I know New Mexico, they're able to prescribe if they've received that certification. I know Louisiana, they're able to prescribe if they've received that certification. I don't know about other states because it's not an area that I have a desire. I don't have a desire to prescribe. But if they have that certification in one of those states, then working for the federal government, no matter what state they're in, then they can also prescribe. But it's a very, very small amount of psychologists who prescribe. So typically psychologists don't. And what we do, our niche as psychologists is psychological assessment. That's our niche. So what we do when we talk about personality assessment, cognitive assessment, you have some psychologists who will specialize in neuropsychology. So they're really looking at the functioning of a brain, while a neurologist is looking at the structure of the brain, but a neuropsychologist is looking at the function, as do clinical psychologists, right? We're looking at your cognitions. How are you thinking? We're looking at your personality. How are you made up? Now, psychiatrists and psychologists and social workers and counselors and some nurses are able to do therapy. So oftentimes people think of psychologists and they just think therapy when that's not our niche. Our niche, again, is psychological assessment and research, essentially. So psychiatry, though, they may decide, hey, I want to do some therapy. Most psychiatrists don't. Psychologists also able to do therapy. Some do, some don't. So that's kind of the difference. We cross lanes a little bit, but the way that we get to being doctor is very, very different. I did not go to medical school. I went to, my undergrad is a different field. Then I got an MBA, totally different field. And then in 2008 decided that, hey, I want to become a psychologist. And so I went back to graduate school and it was a 7-year journey of starting school and then actually being licensed. And so it's still a long journey. It's an amazing one because you do learn a lot about yourself as you're learning how to help others, and learning how the brain functions, how our bodies function, how personality is formed, what human behavior looks like, why we behave in the ways that we behave, how to influence human behavior.
Right.
So it's two different things. I know it's a long answer, but it was a very good question and an important question for people to understand the difference.
Yeah, and the reason I ask that is because I'm a certified youth crisis counselor, and we would all, work together. If we had a child that was, you had your psychiatrist, you had your psychologist, you had me, and others, like I said, to try to navigate and get that particular child back on point, or get them in a program that's going to help them to be successful, be able to navigate life. That's why I brought that up. And I think a lot of times people don't understand it's okay. And this is what I talked about on Wednesday night. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay in that same situation. So let's, as we, again, I got to have you back because we got so much to talk about. But let's talk about this for 2021, Dr. Angela, that it's okay not to be okay, and some things to change that narrative where we can function.
Yeah, we're human. We're human. And so oftentimes we have to normalize that as humans, we go through different experiences. And with different experiences, we have different emotions and we respond differently. It doesn't mean, again, back to that word disorder, right? I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to be hurt. I'm allowed to be disappointed. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to have guilt, right? That doesn't mean I have a mental health disorder. And that's where we have to start getting. We think that because I'm human and experiencing emotions, and even if it is disorder, we get to the point of disorder, we tend to say that that person is weak. No,
right.
The person is human, right?
Love
and so
that.
I really do enjoy what you just said. It's okay to not be okay, but what's not okay is staying not okay, right? And so there's different things that we can do to mitigate not being okay. It might be just reaching out to a friend. Again, speaking about those who are extroverts, right, who need that social interaction. And so they may not be okay being at home and isolated and not being as social as we once were able to be. And so for them, it might be as simple as, hey, friend, can we go meet outside, have a cup of coffee, or if it's afternoon, have some wine, or if it's a Saturday morning, have a mimosa, right? But engaging socially, and that might be enough. It might be, you know, someone who really enjoys being physically active, but like here, you know, behind my house, there's a big mountain, right? And I love to hike. And so at the beginning of this pandemic, I had some concerns about hiking with others, right? Because we were told not to be around anybody. But I also don't like to hike alone because there's coyotes and rattlesnakes and, you know, wild pigs back there. And so I don't want to, I have a gun, but I don't want to face those things by myself.
Right.
And so, so for a minute I wasn't okay. And now I can go hike. I can be social. I know how to wear a mask. I know how to social distance. I know who is in my circle, who I'm able to be closer with, right? And the CDC guidance is to always wear a mask with those who aren't in your household. I'll be honest, I have not followed that. I have a circle of people. While we're not in the same household, we are comfortable being around one another because we're only around one another. So that's against the CDC guidance. I'm not telling others to do that. That's just what we have done. But I wasn't okay. And now I can go out, I can be social, I can hike, I can get on the mountain. I'm not afraid that the coyote is going to come get me, which is an irrational fear, right? Because one coyote is not going to do anything to me anyway. And then if it gets to the point to where being social or reaching out or doing something you enjoy isn't working, and it is getting more into that disordered area, it's absolutely wonderful to seek out professional help, right? And to work with someone who does do therapy, whether it be your psychiatrist. They're probably going to talk about medication. So if you're not wanting that, you know, finding a psychiatrist who does therapy, or a psychologist, or a counselor, or a clinical social worker. They can professionally help you with tools and skills. So there's things, therapy is not just talking, right? You talk with a friend, so that's great. Therapy, when you have a therapist, therapy is a selfish relationship, which is okay. It's all about you. So if I were your provider, I would not sit there and say, well, later today, yep, I'm going to go and have brunch with my girls and da-da-da. It's not about me, right? It's all about you and what you're going through and how we're able to then push you through. And there's different types of therapy, going back to PTSD, trauma. My specialty is combat trauma. And we don't talk and just talk about what they experience. There's some specific therapies that I utilize to help the brain to reprocess what that traumatic experience was, so they're no longer stuck in the trauma, so that the brain can process through it. So it still just remains a bad memory, but it's no longer causing them avoidance or being hypervigilant or having the nightmares or dissociation, right? So if anyone is curious, that's EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. Then there's another one, prolonged exposure, we call it PE. And there's another one, CPT, cognitive processing therapy. There's other trauma therapies out there as well. But that's different than someone who's doing psychodynamic therapy. Psychodynamic therapy is where the person is able to gain a little bit more insight into themselves, right? Why am I the way that I am? And how can I change this thing about me that I don't necessarily care for, right? It's very insightful therapy. And so when you're looking to get help, it's understanding, what is my need? What am I wanting help with, right? If I'm wanting help with, let's say, something a little bit more simple, smoking cessation. Okay, well, we're going to do some behavioral things to help you quit smoking. We may do some hypnosis, right? We're going to do something that's specific to that. So going to see someone who does psychodynamic or specifically trauma, they might not be the best fit for you with smoking cessation, right?
Okay.
And so it's knowing what your need is and then finding a provider who has the tools and skills to be able to meet that need.
It's amazing. And again, it goes back to our subject today. The topic is Insight with Dr. Angela Kenzslowe, and you have given us some amazing insight. And I'm going to kind of loop me in here. Hopefully, we can come back and continue maybe a slight series when Obama is not calling and Michelle is not bothering you. You're not off on the Today Show, that we can squeeze in, because I would like to bring you back, because you got so many different podcasts out here. I saw something recently where you did a seminar, I believe, on crossing the color line, if that's correct.
Oh, you're talking about the TED Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get into all that, because there's so many levels, and I think it's going to be helpful to our audience and viewers around the world. And again, I just, I'm enjoying having you on, and I want to, again, make sure that you come on anytime you want to, and we'll try to schedule some more things. And I love Saturdays. I didn't think I would enjoy this, on Saturdays, because we normally do our shows on Thursday or it's evening. But thank you for getting us out of our rut.
Well, thank you for accommodating me. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful spending this time with you, and how I don't know if it was spontaneous with the comments or if you did research to get, like, even my son never comes on these things. So that was a great treat. Thank you. My son, my mom, Joey. So thank you so much for giving me that gift today.
I wished I could take credit. That's one thing. I'm very transparent. They love you so much, and hopefully we did a good job of marketing this show today, that they like, let me check out my favorite person in the world. So I like to say to your son, your mom, Joey, everybody, thank you for tuning in this morning. More importantly, and just as important, thank you for being such a gracious guest this morning.
Thank you.
And I hate to put you on the spot, but will you come back again? That's that Southern thing. We always, hey, come on back, child. Come on back in.
Oh, come on, have some vittles.
Yeah, come on back with us again, for sure.
Once I get my Cruz mug, because when we were backstage, I showed him my coffee mug. He's like, "That's such a great coffee mug, but you need one of these. Go ahead, show your mug."
Yeah, we're
coffee mug shame me for not having one of his. So once I get my mug, I'll be back.
Well, that's my fault, because I want to make sure you get your mug, and so when we come back on, you can have your mug, and you can do just like the Wendy show. Everybody has the Wendy mug, so we're going to be sitting and drinking the Cruz Inc. mug and everything. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to do a little house cleaning things. Got one more comment coming in. Wait a minute. Let's make sure. Okay. There you go. People loving. Thank you, Veronica. Appreciate you tuning in and questions as well. All right, everybody. Don't go anywhere, Doc. I'll be right back. Want to thank you for tuning in this morning. We've had an awesome, amazing, phenomenal show with Dr. Angela Kenzslowe. Right now, you see her website. Let me do something, because I can't do. See, that's, as a producer, sometimes things happen. Please give everybody your platforms where they can follow you and get more insightful information from you.
So I have to tell you, as things have been happening in my life, I did the Today Show twice so far this year. So January 1st, and then they had me back at the end of January. So that was amazing. And I have found myself with someone who kind of was trolling me on the internet. First it was emails, then it started being public. So I kind of closed my social media down for a minute, trying to mitigate and see what's going on. So you may not be able to get to me right now. Okay. But my Instagram is Dr. Angela K. So Dr_Angela_K. And my Facebook is Dr. Angela Kenzslowe, Dr. Angela Kenzslowe. LinkedIn, Dr. Angela Kenzslowe. YouTube, Dr. Angela Kenzslowe. So pretty easy to find. You just put my last name in. Kenzs. There's a Z and a S, LOWE, and I'll pop up. I will be opening up. I've done some things legally to mitigate the person who was taking some liberties of not being such a nice person. So yeah, it's weird. It was kind of, I know we're hanging up, but
no, because I got a message for bruh. I'm going Memphis style. Bruh, leave Dr. Angela alone. You don't want people visiting you. Nah,
no.
Nah.
Legal stuff. So,
yeah, a little humor here. No, seriously, that's serious, and we hope that things will work out for you where you can be accessible to people. And it's just sad, but that's the state that we live in now when you become a public figure like that, unfortunately.
And my concern more is because what I share on my professional pages, I try to be very inspirational. And so it's not about me. You can email me nasty stuff. I mean, I specialize in combat trauma. Like I hear the worst of the worst. Right? What people can experience. I've worked with people who've been civilly committed. I've worked in prison. Like I've done different things. So coming at me personally, fine. But when someone starts to hinder a platform where others are coming for good information and they have to see things that aren't good, that's where I draw the line.
Of course.
So I will soon have those platforms back up. If you request to follow me on Instagram, just send me a little message saying, Cruz Radio, then I'll go ahead and I'll accept it. So that's still up. And then soon I'll have my professional Facebook page back up as well.
Absolutely. Again, everybody, I want to thank you for tuning in and Dr. Angela for being here with us this morning. And if you just happen to just wake up at 11:09 and you want to know what the heck has been going on, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 TV on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the entire broadcast. It will still be up on our Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 Facebook page and also on our 12 channels, actually, our 12 pages on Facebook. It will be throughout the day. You'll be able to go out there and see it. So again, thank you for tuning in. This is your boy Cruz, the beast from the east, in cloudy Central Virginia, while somebody is out in sunny Arizona.
I gotta check it. Let me check it before we. Oh, it's 54 right now, but later it'll be 72. I don't know what I'm going to do in these short sleeves. I don't know.
Oh my goodness! Let me go out here and get the ice off. But no, it's not ice yet. But I'm just okay. I can't with you this morning.
Well, can I make a quick plug for Virginia?
Absolutely.
So my uncle is a wonderful DJ out in Virginia. Yes. Kirby Carmichael is my uncle. And so for those who know him, I just, want to just send my uncle some love to the Virginia folks.
There is no one in the Cap City that does not know him and his son. Again, yes, absolutely. That is amazing. Yeah. It is a small world, definitely a small world. All right, guys, I'm going to take you guys off screen. And again, thank you for tuning in to Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8, your internet radio station for smooth jazz, R&B, gospel, and more. Make sure that you go out to this station right now because we have fantastic program. We have some of the marvelous music that you want to hear. And talking about Saturday mornings while you're cleaning up, you can blast us on Saturday mornings there because we have some great cleaning up music. So you guys be good. I will talk to you soon. Take care. As I always say, whatever comes from the heart reaches the heart. Let somebody know how much you care for them before it's too late. Love you guys.